Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 187 of the It's Obvious podcast. My name's Garrett Drake. I'm joined across the internet by Jacob only, which makes me sad. But Jacob, you warm my heart in Preston's absence. How are you?
I'm great. I'm also sad that Preston's not here. Did you talk to him?
I did. He's working today at the time we're recording, and I have work later, and I won't be off till midnight or later, unfortunately. So I am stuck to doing it at this time. But it's good to have you nonetheless. How was your week?
Yeah, you're stuck with me. So.
Yeah.
I'm good. Just been busy. Been playing a little bit of games, watching some YouTube. Actually, I watched a lot of YouTube. I don't know why. But that's basically my week. Worked a lot. Yeah, nothing too crazy. What about you, man?
Cool. Same for me, man. Just working school and played the Resident Evil 2 demo on PC, and it was fabulous.
Too. Yeah, it's so good.
It is. I'm very excited.
I'm all aboard the hype train now. Like, I'm pumped for Friday.
Yeah, I'm glad to hear it, man. It's going to come upon us quite swiftly, and we can all enjoy it together and talk about it. I look forward to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't really have much else to add other than on mouse and keyboard. It feels buttery smooth, as one would expect. Ran very well. I have no complaints on PS4, but I just love that mouse and keyboard feel, and it's easy to be extremely accurate on mouse and keyboard. So I think that may be where I'm playing it.
Oh, nice, dude. I'm glad to hear it. PC Master Race.
Totally, dude. Totally. I was talking to Preston about it because he still was having a hard time making up his mind on where he wanted to play. Excuse me. And I told him it's almost a situation where you just have to choose to let the PlayStation 4 go. I mean, that's always where his history for Resident Evil has been, where all of his trophies are and everything. But arguably the better technical experience is on PC. And I told him, if you want that, you just have to choose to let the PlayStation 4 go. As much as that sucks, it's almost like you have to choose to move on, as hard as that can be sometimes.
See, my PS4, it's sitting right next to me, but I haven't touched it since not Resident Evil, Red Dead Redemption 2, and I have no intention of touching it until I download Kingdom Hearts 3.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's getting ready for that Kingdom Hearts, man.
Oh yeah, I got to make sure it's updated and good to go when the time comes. I got that day off too, so all day just playing Kingdom Hearts. Is
that the 25th as well, or is it the following week?
Let me pull up the calendar on my phone, and I will tell you precisely what day it comes out. The 29th, a Tuesday.
All right, okay, following Tuesday. Cool.
So we will have one more podcast before it comes out.
We will. That's exciting.
So how's Atlanta? You're currently at your girlfriend's apartment, right?
I am. It's fine. It's I imagine it's as cold here as it is where you are. I mean, winds howling.
Yeah,
winds howling where we are. Literally howling.
It's so cold.
What'd you say?
I said it is so cold. It's ridiculous.
It's absolutely freezing. And it was pouring rain yesterday, and now winds are blowing like whirlwinds and tornadoes out there. It's ridiculous.
Yep.
But I'm surviving. It's good. I have work later, so that's why I'm here. Just got a head start on the traffic and whatnot, and the commute, of course. Man. But yeah, dude, nothing even slightly interesting going on in my life. I have a cool opportunity coming up this week for COG that I'll be able to talk about later on. But other than that, nothing going on. What about you?
Nice. Well, like I said, nothing too much. I've been playing a little bit more Blackout, and I played the RE2 demo, obviously, and I really enjoyed it. Didn't get to finish it, unfortunately. I did get to the part where I could pick up the shotgun, and I started blasting a couple guys in the head. That was really fun.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I was, like, actually a little sad when it ended. I was like, oh, God, I was having so much fun. Like, I feel like something cool is coming up, and I didn't get to see it, but... You know, alas, the game's coming out Friday, so I'll be able to play through it through the weekend, hopefully, and beat it before, Kingdom Hearts drops on that following Tuesday.
For sure.
Yeah, that's pretty much me, man. Like, it was a pretty normal week, nothing too exciting.
I feel you. I saw Bumblebee with Casey finally the other night, and it was actually kind of funny. Before I talk about the movie, we got there and we told him we wanted tickets for the 9:55 showing. And I guess the guy was distracted and he gave us tickets for the 9:30 showing. And by the time we realized that, because even the ticket terror pointed us in the wrong direction of where we thought we were supposed to be going. We looked at our tickets and realized they were incorrect. We're like, well, whatever. We paid for the tickets anyway, it's just at a different time. So we'll go in this theater instead. So we went to the theater that we meant to buy tickets for. We get in there. Casey and I are the only two people in this theater for about the first 15 minutes in the movie. And out of nowhere, the movie just cuts off. So like, well, this is weird. So we assumed it's because they thought no one had purchased tickets for this showing.
Yeah.
So to make matters worse, the movie gets cut off, and Casey had propped up an entire open box of Mike and Ike's on my drink. And as soon as she did that, I turned to like look up at the projector, and I knocked the Mike and Ike's over, and it spills the entire box all over the floor. So in a matter of 10 seconds, our great night with great candy and a great movie just instantly gets cut off. Like, movie cuts off, I knock the candy over. We're like, ah! So I had to go out and talk to management and try to find someone to talk to about the situation and explain what happened. We went through this whole ordeal where they finally were like, okay, we'll just start the movie back up where you left off and everything will be fine. So I get back in the theater, and Casey's like, hey, this is way further ahead than where we were. I was like, gosh, dang it. So I leave the theater again to go talk to someone and be like, hey, can you rewind it just a little bit further? Because it's too far ahead. They're like, okay, sure. So I go back in there, and there's a guy manning the projector, and there's another guy out at the top of the theater, like the back row, like trying to speak to us at the same time. And it's so loud with explosions and music that the guy, we're like doing like charades trying to figure out where to get the movie to. Yeah. So we spend like 5 minutes trying to deal with this. And finally, I just run up to the back of the theater. I'm like, go back 10 more minutes. And he goes back 10 more minutes. It's like exactly where we were. But it's just this huge ordeal just to watch Bumblebee. But the good news is, after all of that debacle, the movie was awesome. Really, really enjoyed it.
Is it the best Transformers movie?
I would say it is, yeah. I still really like the first one, but I think as an overall just storytelling package, it's a more focused story. Obviously, there's only a handful of Transformers in the movie, at least for the majority of the movie. The character development on all fronts is excellent. A lot of great action, a lot of great humor. Of course, this is like an 80s throwback or an homage to the 80s in a lot of ways. Very reminiscent of E.T. Love the relationship between Bumblebee and Haley Steinfeld in the movie. It was awesome, man. The visual effects were outstanding as well, as one would expect in a Transformers movie, but it was good. I loved it. I have nothing but positive things to say about it. I highly recommend it if you haven't seen it already.
It's good to hear, man. I've never been a huge fan of Transformers. I did like the first one, like you did. Mostly because of Shia, my boy Shia LaBeouf. Need to bring him back. That's what will save the series. I'm telling you. Well, I'm glad you enjoyed the movie, man.
Yeah, it
seems like you see a new movie every week, so it's always good.
I try to. Casey and I don't go as often as we used to, but yeah, I try to see stuff as often as I can. Yeah, because I don't see movies like at all anymore. So unless it's like a big deal, like a Star Wars movie or something. So you saw Spiderman, didn't you?
No.
Oh, dude, you have to see that before it leaves theaters. That should be at the top of your priority list right now.
Out of everything I need to do, that should be my top.
You need to see that before it leaves theaters. I promise you won't regret it.
I mean, I could just watch it, when it comes out.
It's not the same. It won't be the same. I mean, it's still, at the end of the day, a great movie, visually, storytelling, everything, but you got to see it on the big screen at least once.
I'll try and make some time. I don't know. We'll see.
You got anything else going on?
My eye itch is really bad, and I'm itching it.
Oh, yeah. I tend to do that myself, and I get in this weird habit where I'll start itching my eye, and it's like it makes it worse. So I'll itch it for about 2 minutes straight.
Yep, and then it gets like swollen. Yeah, that's me all the time. There is one thing. I'm going to start streaming again this week.
Solo or ItsObviousGaming?
Solo.
Nice.
I made my own channel, but it's on Facebook. I'm streaming from Facebook. The actual link is fb.gg/Jalka27. So if you like listening to my voice, or you enjoy my personality or anything that I do, and you want to see me play games again, come follow my page, and you will literally get to see just that.
I'll follow your page.
Yeah, you should. It would make me very happy, Garrett.
I'll do that. I'll tune into your first stream. When are you doing it?
I haven't decided exactly yet. I plan on doing it either Wednesday or Thursday.
Alrighty, I'll be there.
But follow me on social media, like I've been saying for like the past 2 months. Continue to do that. And I chose Facebook because I didn't want to do Twitch again because it's so crowded in terms of how many people are streaming on there. That's kind of hard to get discovered or stand out amongst the other streamers, So I chose a platform that was a lot less populated in terms of game streams, and but it also has a very high growing viewer base. So we'll see how that works out. I'm excited to actually stream again. It's been too long. But that's about it for me, my dude.
Sweet, man. You want to just jump into this news? We've got quite a bit to get to this week. It's exciting.
Yeah, I have the notes sitting right here in front of me. I actually printed the notes from my phone. I didn't know I could do that from my house.
Oh, that's excellent.
But apparently my printer is Wi-Fi, so
sweet.
Kind of cool. But yeah, I'm ready to go.
Cool, dude. Well, this is the It's Obvious podcast, excuse me, where my best friends and I gather every single week to discuss video games and more. If you enjoy what you're hearing, you can listen to it on a multitude of platforms. It's available on youtube.com/ItsObviousGaming, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Play, Audio Boom, and many others that we always fail to mention, but it's out there in the world. And we encourage you to comment down below on YouTube, especially if you like anything you hear, if there's anything specific you want to note on that we talk about or community questions, we'd love to hear from you. And it's always a pleasure to have you tuning in week in and week out. What else does this person say? All of our social media is down in the links of every description of every podcasting service we're on, including social media links, our Discord channel, email, everything, PSN names, what else is in there? Xbox Club, which we're not on at all. But our our BattleNet tags are in there. Our Steam names are in there. Anything you'd ever want to connect with us is all in the descriptions of every single podcasting service. And we encourage you to do so. We love hearing from you guys. But with all that out of the way, we can just jump right into it, Jacob. First story comes from Jason Schreier about the Star Wars game that was canceled from EA Vancouver, which really blows. So I'll recap kind of the story briefly, and then I'll kind of read the actual excerpt from his article. But this was moderately shocking, I'd say. More than shocking, I'd say it's just disappointing because, as we know, I think it was Vancouver and possibly a bit of Motive. One of the two studios took over the assets from Ragtag, from Visceral's work that Amy Hennig was doing. And they were going to sort of evolve those ideas into an open world game. And a long story short, after I think a little over a year and a half or so of development, they have essentially canned. EA hasn't explicitly stated that they have officially canceled it, but all things considered, the way they've been dancing around the subject is basically confirmed that it is canceled. And I think they've answered accusations of it being canceled with, "Oh, we have many more Star Wars projects in the works."
Yeah.
But they've yet to cancel it because that would just look horrible. So I guess even though everyone knows they canceled it, if they don't outright say it, it doesn't look as bad. But I feel like the damage is done at this point. But it's disappointing because at the end of the day, I just want more Star Wars games. And it's an absolute shame that EA has, for the most part, dropped the ball on Star Wars games. I mean, I think Battlefront 1 and 2 are cool. I mean, I don't adore those games, but I think, from a technical perspective and just being a decent first-person shooter, I think those games are pretty solid, but they're not that special. I just think as a Star Wars fan visually and even with the music and all, it's just a pretty cool experience for a handful of matches here and there. But yeah. I'm hoping, of course, that Respawn's Jedi Fallen Order is as cool as I think it's going to be. Because obviously they're excellent at what they do, and everyone's been waiting for a really kick-ass lightsaber game for a long time. So hopefully they deliver on that front. But,
yeah, I hope so. When I remember who was making Ragtag, I forgot the name of the studio that closed.
It was Visceral.
Yeah, Visceral. As soon as they closed, I kind of lost faith in that project. Honestly, I kind of just had a bad feeling about what they were going to do with it or what direction they were going to take it. So I'm not surprised that this project is supposedly canceled, according to Jason Schreier. I mean, yeah, it's disappointing, but maybe it's good that it's just stopping. Obviously they didn't have a good direction to take the game, or thought it was going to be successful, so they just kind of stopped making it. I am also excited for Jedi Fallen Order, like you said. I really do hope that it's good, because we are just sitting here dying for a good Star Wars game. Honestly, I just like you said, playing the two Battlefronts, they're okay, but when I think Star Wars, I don't think shooting guys in a first-person shooter. I want to be a Jedi. I want to live and breathe in the Star Wars universe more than just shoot a gun.
I get that. So I'm going to read the little excerpt from his article, and there's one bit at the end that blew my mind when I read it, and I swear that EA was listening to our podcast about pitching the next Star Wars video game. Because you may recall, my biggest pitch in that episode all those years ago was essentially, I went really in depth on it, but my basic synopsis was, imagine playing a bounty hunter in a giant open world galaxy, essentially, where you can explore a number of open world planets and work with different factions and customize your guy and go on missions, blah, 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 blah. And a ton of different open worlds is basically what I said.
Yeah.
So keep that in mind as I read this. This is hilarious. So this is a quote from Kotaku's update regarding the story. It says, Kotaku has updated its story saying that the news sources have now indicated that the canceled Star Wars game was codenamed Orca and has been replaced with a, quote, smaller scale Star Wars project at EA Vancouver. Orca was reportedly deemed too long a project for EA's current development roadmap, and the new, smaller game is apparently, tentatively, I can hardly say that word, scheduled for late 2020. Kotaku also indicates that some EA Vancouver workers hope Orca will re-enter development after the new game is completed. More details about the Orca would have been also, what Orca would have been, have also emerged. The game would have apparently seen players taking on the role of a scoundrel or bounty hunter who could explore various open-world planets and work with different factions across the Star Wars universe. That's the description for what it was. Well, that's exactly what I pitched on our podcast, and I knew it was a kick-ass idea, and apparently EA thought the exact same thing. So, part of me feels like I should be pitching video games, man. Like I'm in film school, they're always teaching us how to pitch films and TV shows, but I'm thinking I should be pitching video game ideas, honestly.
Yeah, maybe.
Granted, it would have been canceled anyway, but it's a pretty cool idea still.
It's just not the right studio. You need to find the right studio.
Right. Yeah, I thought that was so funny, though. I mean, when I read that word for word, it blew my mind.
Yeah.
So, but to everyone listening to the podcast, if you haven't already read it, Schreier's article on Kotaku titled "EA's Troubled Decade of Star Wars Games" is a pretty good read about, the conception of, or obviously the establishment of their deal with Disney and Star Wars, and the past 10 years leading up to now, and how it's looked and how it's been. It's obviously been very rocky. And I hope they can produce something awesome in between now and whenever that contract's up. I don't know when that is, but
yeah, I mean, I want Disney to give other studios a chance to make a Star Wars game, honestly, because EA is just, shit in the bed, for lack of a better phrase.
Back in the day when they first announced that, it did surprise me that they went with EA of all publishers. It's almost like Disney was out of the loop on like the good publishers. Because I'm not saying EA is totally terrible. I mean, they've made some huge mistakes, obviously, in the past. But I was surprised even then that they chose EA. I think EA is just such a big name publisher that they're like, oh, obviously it has to be EA. They've made 1 million video games.
Yeah, so, exactly.
I don't know.
Probably more of something like that. I mean, we'll never know like what went on behind the scenes to, who talked to who to make this happen. So it's kind of hard to say. Yeah.
But we've seen a step in the right direction as far as Marvel game studios, licensing their IP to various developers that are doing a great job, it seems. Obviously with Insomniac. So I'm hoping Disney takes the same approach with Star Wars in the long run. That'd be nice.
That would be super cool if they did something like that.
Especially with the fractured fan base, the films right now. I mean, the best thing they can do is, at the very least, license their games to better studios. And that's the thing, I shouldn't say studios, just better publishers who handle the IP better, because obviously DICE is a phenomenal developer, and they did, for the most part, a really great job with Battlefront, and I assume the same will be done with Respawn and Fallen Order, but only time will tell, my friend. I'm just hoping for the best at this point.
Well, they've stumbled like hardcore on both Battlefronts, right? Like the first one didn't have a campaign, and like it kind of like it felt shallow in terms of its multiplayer.
It did, and then obviously the microtransaction debacle.
They put a campaign. Yeah, like they put a campaign this time, but it sucked, and all the problems with the microtransactions. So they're kind of 0 for 2. So.
Oh no, the big dog wants some food.
Oh, boy.
Mommy will come give you food in a moment, big dog. Sorry, I have this big furry lizard attacking me right now. I think she's hungry.
She's real sweet.
She's a sweet one. Jacob, where was I? Sorry, I lost my train of thought there. Anthem Matchmaking sounded like it's going to be a pretty good deal here. This comes from Fraser Brown, a PC gamer. He says, Anthem lead producer Ben Irving has confirmed that BioWare's impending shooter will feature matchmaking for every single activity, unlike Destiny or MMOs like World of Warcraft, which restrict the most challenging dungeons and raids to pre-made groups. Irving clarified that matchmaking will be opt-out, so you don't need to tackle everything as a group, but for the harder stuff, you'll probably want to bring some friends along. I thought that was pretty cool, because it always bothered me in the past when I wanted to do various raids and whatnot. You had to build a group rather than have matchmaking, so I think that's a pretty cool.
Well, maybe you need to make more online friends, Garrett.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, or we have friends, but our schedules never line up, which really sucks. So.
Yeah, that's more like it for me.
Yeah, but that is pretty cool, I'd say, for Anthem. I'm still, even now, after all I've seen, I'm still not totally sold on the game. I'm just going to have to wait for reviews. And I know there's a preview event happening this week somewhere.
Yeah.
So a bunch of outlets will be reporting on it. I look forward to hearing everyone's thoughts in depth. I mean, I know if some influencers have had a taste of it as well. But I think I read somewhere else in like an interview that there aren't any environments other than like the forest and waterfalls. I think that's like the only environment you explore in the whole game. At least that's what BioWare's leading on so far. So if that's the case, that kind of bums me out a little bit. Because I can just imagine how cool it'd be to fly around like an icy cavern or like a desert or something.
Yeah, I don't think it's like you're flying to other planets like in Destiny. I think you just have maybe one big area, maybe. I don't know.
Right. Yeah, I don't know. But yeah, I'm still not sold. But from what I've seen, I have seen some cool stuff. And I'm like, wow, that looks awesome. But
yeah, like the gameplay looks solid. That's one thing that I have. Like, I have faith in the gameplay. Like, it looks pretty fun. But there's other things that I'm like skeptical about. Like, for example, there's no PvP. Like, I don't know. I feel like that's a big part of one of these kind of games. I don't know. Like, I like going against other players, and right now you can only team up with other players. So
yeah, I feel like that game would be so awesome in PvP too, customizing the
it would be so
I keep calling them
unique.
Jaegers. What are they called? Javelins.
Yeah, javelins.
Customizing javelins and duking it out and like team deathmatch and capture the flag and stuff. I think it'd be pretty cool, especially with all the flying around, like shooting someone out of the sky. That'd be awesome.
It could kind of be like a combination of like a MOBA plus like FP or a third-person shooter. Actually, it would be kind of a cool like gameplay loop, I think. But maybe they'll add it in later if people really want it. We'll see. I am gonna still buy it. Like it looks like it's a game I want to play, but I don't know if I'm like gonna be fully invested like post beating the campaign.
Yeah, we'll see. I don't even know if I'm gonna pick it up at launch. It really depends on the reviews for me.
Garrett?
You still there?
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry.
Are we talking about the Division 2 at all?
We can if you want. I don't have anything in here about it.
Yeah, well, they just like released trailers about the Dark Zone and I think about the campaign this last week.
Oh, did they? I didn't notice.
Yeah, there's going to be 3 Dark Zones. They're all smaller. Like there's one in like the west, the east, and there's one in the south. And I think like they all like kind of they're designed around different types of gameplay. Like one I think is like a long range, and the other 2 are something else. But there's going to be like also they reduced the amount of players that can be in like one instance in the Dark Zone. I think it's like 12 or something. It used to be a lot more. But also there's going to be like a rotating like event. I think it's going to be like a weekly thing where like one of those Dark Zones is like it's kind of like an Iron Banner in Destiny, where your weapons and power actually matters. So like the better gear you have, like the more damage you're going to do to other players. And then like the other 2 are just going to be like everything's going to be equaled out. So everyone's on an equal playing field. Oh, cool. So I wanted to hear your thoughts on that. And like, were you a fan of the Dark Zone in the first division? I know you didn't play it a whole lot, but do you like the idea of the Dark Zone? And like, do you see yourself maybe investing time into it this time around? Yeah, definitely. The Dark Zone was the most interesting aspect of the Division 1 to me. And I look forward to see, I mean, from what you've described about the evolution of that and the sequel, sounds awesome. Yeah, so. I'm kind of excited to explore like a new location, and also like it's not going to be completely covered in snow, and like it's going to be a little more bright and vibrant. So there's Casey. Hello. Yeah, she's here. Yeah, I'm like with Anthem, I'm also excited to try out Division 2. But I just wanted to hear your thoughts on the Dark Zone. Yeah, I'm definitely going to be playing Division 2, no doubt. I have more interest in that than Anthem. I think it's just because obviously it's a sequel and they'll learn from a lot of the stuff that people critiqued in the first one, and Anthem's a brand new IP, and I don't know why. I mean, Anthem, like as an idea, is really awesome, but just everything I've seen hasn't rocked my world yet. But Division 2, I'm all in, man. Definitely going to play. Good to hear, good to hear. So, especially in that old PC, brother, it's going to be good. Oh, yeah, brother. Anything else from Division 2 that I missed? I mean, I think there was a story trailer, but who cares, Alrighty, let's see. Death Stranding was presented privately to Guerrilla Games. About the first 2 hours, actually. This comes from Joe Screbbles of IGN. Quote, Hideo Kojima has shown off the first 2 hours of gameplay to developers at Horizon Zero Dawn studio Guerrilla Games. Guerrilla's Decima engine is what powers Death Stranding, so it's no real surprise that the Dutch devs would be among the first to see Kojima's work. It does leave the rest of us still guessing. Since the game's announcement, we've heard about a design philosophy featuring ropes and sticks, and seen hints of gameplay in a trailer,
but we still don't know what the moment-to-moment play will involve, or even if the game will arrive this year. It'll be interesting to see how this, or see how and when we learn more, given the publisher Sony is skipping E3 this year. So I'm envious of Guerrilla Games seeing this game in action, mostly because I'm just morbidly curious. I mean, I have no idea what to expect from this. In the trailer we've seen that shows snippets of gameplay looks like Pack Mule Simulator is how I've described it, of just Norman Reedus walking around with giant backpacks on. Yeah. So, and he has a gun in one short clip, but you don't see him firing it. So I don't know exactly what to expect. But, and again, I hope this isn't. I guess we haven't heard reactions. Well, I heard from another article, I think a headline that says like Guerrilla was wowed or like floored or their jaws dropped to the presentation. But I'm hoping it's not just because everyone overhypes Hideo Kojima. And dare I say, I think he's slightly overhyped. I think his games, from what I have played and what I have seen, are cool. But I do feel like there's a level of hype there that maybe exceeding what it should be just a little bit. But again, I look forward to seeing what Death Stranding is all about. Obviously, we won't be seeing any of it at E3. Maybe around E3, Sony will do their own thing. I don't know. Maybe before, but we still don't have any idea of whether, like they say in the article, if it's coming this year or not. But I just want to know more, honestly. That's why I have no hype for the game whatsoever. I just have an interest or a curiosity because I don't even know what it is. So
yeah, I'm exactly in the same boat. I don't really have much more to add there.
Yeah, but lucky, man, I'm so sick, Jacob. Lucky Guerrilla Games got to see it.
I hope you feel better.
Yeah, thanks, Jacob. I don't think I'll ever feel better, unfortunately. I'm just perpetually sick. We got a Days Gone open world trailer. Did you see this?
I did.
What'd you think?
I think the world looks interesting. It did not make me more hyped to play the game, though. I don't know why. I think like riding around the motorcycle with all the different like weather effects that are going to be happening, I think that could be potentially pretty fun. Because obviously the motorcycle is going to be a huge part of this game, and you know, I hope that it actually feels good and it's like fun to drive it around. Like that would be a big problem if it actually was like a hindrance to the game. So, but also like I'm like really interested to see like once I get the game how. Oh, are they called freakers? Like, what are the zombies called?
Yeah, they're called freakers, and they're like they keep saying they're not zombies. They're like vampire people. It's kind of like the creatures from I Am Legend, I mean, they're zombies. Let's be honest, they're zombies.
Okay,
but
yeah, I'm just excited to see like how does the game perform with all these things on the screen? Like, how much frames am I going to be dropping?
I will say, it didn't look from that open world trailer. It didn't look quite as fluid as it did in the original 2016 demo, but. Which is no surprise to me. I mean, that game was beefed out to max proportions just to make it look as pretty as possible. But
yeah, and I'm more than likely going to be playing this on like the regular PS4, so like I don't know what's going to be happening.
I feel the same as you do, though. The trailer did not change my opinion or hype for the game. I'm definitely going to play it because I think it still looks cool. I mean, at the end of the day, I still enjoy it. As generic as it may be, I still enjoy open world games where I can infiltrate bases and collect loot and ride around on a motorcycle. Sounds pretty cool. And like you said, the weather effects
look like the Far Cry loop in a way.
And I do feel like I wouldn't know if I'd go as far as to call it a gimmick, but their one aspect is the hundreds of freakers on screen at once, and something tells me that's only going to be in key situations. Like that won't be something. Maybe they've claimed you may come across a pack of them in the middle of a highway or something at some point, but I don't know if they're going to confine it to certain like. Set piece moments or what, but I'd hope you can just come across groups of them. I think they teased that in the follow-up demo they did a year later at E3, where he infiltrates a camp with stealth and shoots that gate and a bunch of them fly out and kill the camp.
Yeah.
So I assume there are packs of them scattered about, but that's probably the most interesting aspect for me as we've discussed. But yeah, the trailer, I mean, again, I'm gonna play it, but I'm still not overly excited about it.
And we still don't really know anything about like what's going on in the game either, do we? Like, what's the point of like, are they just surviving? Like, is this The Walking Dead? Like, what's going on in this game?
Yeah, I know it has to do with I think motorcycle gangs, if I'm not mistaken. So there may be some sort of rivalry between gangs in this.
This is a live action retelling of Wild Hogs.
Yeah, exactly. I certainly hope it is. All right, one second. I'm pulling up the Mortal Kombat reveal info.
Okay.
So there's way too much to read word for word, but I'll kind of skim through it. Did you see any of this reveal?
I saw some gameplay and then like the trailer. I didn't really tune into the event.
Okay, that's basically what I saw. I mean, obviously, just the trailer and gameplay looks fantastic. Those fatalities look brutal.
Oh yeah.
Got to look at some of the new character designs and their I think I already said fatality. Sorry, I'm distracted. Let me see. Let me go through this. Essentially, the story is about time travel, and I can't remember what's the new character's name.
So it's like Garrett or something?
Yeah, Garrett is one of them. Oh yeah, Garrett and Kronika are two brand new characters that have been announced. And according to Mortal Kombat's lore, Kronika's been around since the first game, and she sort of controls time. And since the events of, I think, Mortal Kombat 9, if I'm not mistaken, something went wrong, and she's got to come and deal with it now. So a lot of time traveling in the game, which is cool. I don't know her powers or anything. You don't really get a full look of her. You just see her in the trailer a little bit. But this Garrus guy fights with time and uses like sand and stone and stuff.
Yeah. I thought he looks kind of cool. His fatality was really cool. How he just like, you know, goes like behind them and stuff. And
yeah, punches their brain out of their skull.
Brutal. Yeah. Did you see Scorpion's fatality? Oh my god!
I haven't seen much. If I'm being honest, I've seen about collectively the trailer, and I've seen maybe about a minute and a half of gameplay.
He like whips them in half. It's like freaking brutal, man.
Nice.
That's like my favorite part about Mortal Kombat. It's not like actually playing the game. It's just seeing the fatalities that they come up with for all the characters every game.
Yeah, it looks pretty rad.
And I know those are like some of the most popular videos for like I know IGN in particular. Like people always tune in to see like the fatality videos. So I'm excited to tune into that.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, so Kronika is the main villain in the new one. Liu Kang and Kung Lao will appear, but it's not confirmed if they'll be playable yet. There will be multiple fighting styles for each character, similar to Injustice 2, as well as customization with your gear and fatalities and cosmetics and everything can all be changed out, which is pretty cool.
That's pretty neat.
Yeah, X-Ray moves have transitioned to what NetherRealm's calling fatal blows, and it has to do with chain attacks and combos and stuff that you nail, and it makes them, I think X-Ray attacks, or the fatal blows specifically, can only be used once a match now, not even once a round, so you have to kind of use them strategically, which I think is kind of cool. Because I like high-risk, high-reward situations. The same has to do with countering attacks and everything now. It's very specific, but yeah, because obviously I button mash when I play these games, but for the pros, man, it sounds like it's going to be even more intense with these changes.
Yeah, I don't know whether or not like these changes are good or not. I'm way out of that scene. Yeah,
same with me. Yeah, but you can, like I was just talking about, you can perform flawless blocks if you block at the exact moment someone attacks. There's also crushing blows. Similar to the bone-breaking X-Ray attack, players will unleash crushing blows when they meet certain conditions using attacks, doing the same 3 moves in a row. Or the same move 3 times in a row, countering a high attack or tricking your opponent into blocking a certain way could unleash a crushing blow. So that's kind of cool. And then it goes into the story. It has a lot to do with time travel, and some of the dark versions of these characters will fight the old school versions of themselves and everything. It's releasing on PS4, PC, and Xbox on April 23rd. Oh, and Nintendo Switch. That's cool.
It's going out on the Switch?
Yeah, that's awesome.
What? That's crazy.
So, more details will be announced in a live stream on the 30th. But I know I'm kind of just breezing through this, but I know very little about fighting games. But overall, I think it looks outstanding. I mean, I expected nothing less from NetherRealm, of course. I mean, Injustice 2 is excellent, and Mortal Kombat's always awesome. I'll definitely be playing it. I don't know why I keep buying Mortal Kombat, because I essentially play through the story and that's it, because I'm so bad at it. But just the game's just so much fun to play for a fighting game, because it's just so brutal. All the characters look cool, and even now with the customization and everything, kind of intrigues me even more to want to play it. So I'm
you did forget one thing. There, Ronda Rousey's acting as Sonya Blade.
Oh, is she? That's cool.
Yeah,
nice. Good for her.
I know she's voice acting. I think she's also motion captured too. So
sweet.
Kind of cool.
That is cool.
I saw some interview of her, like, you know, talking about it. It's kind of cool that she's doing that.
Definitely. Yeah, there's not, I mean, I basically hit all the bullet points very quickly there, but overall, man, I think it looks outstanding. I look forward to losing terribly when I play it against you, Preston, and many others, I'm sure.
Oh, dude, I'm awful.
Yeah, every time a new fighting game comes out, specifically from NetherRealm, I'm like, even with like Dragon Ball Fighters, I was like, this is gonna be the one that I get really good at, and I get my ass kicked so many times in a row that I quickly give up. But a man can dream, you know. Yeah, but I unfortunately can't live up to that expectation of myself. But I'm gonna play it anyway, Jacob. It's gonna be fun.
All right.
You see any of the coverage of Sekiro's Shadows Die Twice from Game Informer?
I have.
Yeah, I've been watching all that stuff, and it's getting me even more excited.
Yeah, I'm pumped, man. Coming
soon. Anything in particular that stood out to you from that's got you excited that you didn't already know? Because I feel like it's mostly just been a recap of what we already know, and just a little slightly closer look. We've seen more gameplay and the like, and sort of their ideas and how their initial concepts evolved into what it is now. It's pretty cool to see. But
a couple things that really stood out to me. I like the idea that instead of, like, in Bloodborne, it's all about dodging and, quick movements, like going in and out of fights. In Dark Souls, it's more about, like, shielding and, precisely moving around an enemy when you need to and striking at the right time. This game, it's more about, like, parrying and, like, blocking attacks and that timing. And I think that's a really cool concept to, like, try and learn and master as a player. And, like that satisfaction of, like, doing that against a boss and, like, just destroying a boss and getting that timing down perfectly I feel like that's going to be a really satisfying experience when I actually play the game. And also, like, they talk a lot about how you can use stuff like a grappling hook and stuff like that to kind of, like, because in Dark Souls it's all about, like, sometimes, like, when you're in unknown areas, like, enemies will surprise you and they'll attack you, like, and you have no idea, like, it was even going to come. It's almost unfair sometimes. But in this game, like, you kind of have the opportunity to surprise enemies and do it the other way. And I think that's kind of, I'm interested to see how that kind of transpires and, like, how many opportunities are going to be like that in this game, And also just the narrative stuff that they've been talking about too. It seems like they're taking some different, like, they're making it a more kind of personal experience in terms of the narrative. Like, your character might matter a little bit more, but there's still going to be a lot of, world storytelling through the items and the environments. So
totally. Yeah, it's interesting too that your protagonist actually talks in this game, unlike the previous games that we've played from Software.
Yeah, and you only get one weapon this time, right? Well, you have your prosthetic arm, but you just have the samurai sword. So it's going to be interesting to see if, like, I get tired of using that.
Now, I wonder if you get different samurai swords, or if, I know there's been speculation as to if the Moonlight Greatsword or whatever it's called is going to wind up in the game, or like a Moonlight Katana.
Yeah,
because I was unaware of this, but the Moonlight weapon has appeared in all of the Souls games in the past. It's kind of like a staple. Mm-hmm. So I don't know if they'll have a variation of that in the new game.
Maybe it'll be like an enhancement onto the weapon. I don't know.
Yeah, but like you said, I'm also excited about just how it's just. I think I described it in my initial preview from E3 when I first saw it. It's like the ultimate evolution of what From Software has done in terms of combat, like you said, with the parrying and how stamina plays into that, and moving around the battlefield, and the stealth aspect and the grappling hook, part of the shinobi prosthetic he has that will have multiple abilities, which I can't remember. I think they mentioned one other one when I saw it at E3. I can't remember what it was. It's all that information's out there, I'm sure, but I think you have multiple abilities with that arm, which is pretty cool, and the grappling hook notably being one of the biggest ones.
Yeah, I'm not sure if you, like, select one or if it's like you can have a few. I don't know.
Yeah, I imagine you can swap them out at will, maybe, depending on the situation. But yeah, just the the traversal around the feudal Japan area and how, like we talked about, it's just this beautiful landscape contrasted by terrifying monsters and death. And like I said, stealth, and you can kind of minimize the threats you have in any given area if you can stealthily take out a few before you get in any big fights. And yeah, I think it looks awesome, man. I'm very, very excited about it. I think it may have been one of my honorable mentions in our 2019 most anticipated list. I can't remember, but if it wasn't, I'm adding it now because I'm very excited for that.
You can't do that.
But yeah, I don't know how much more coverage we'll get from Game Informer, but they're doing a great job with that. And
I think they're doing it the rest of the month, so we should get a little more stuff.
Sweet, dude.
Yeah, I also listen to their podcast, and they talk about it a little bit there too. So
I
do recommend their podcast. Like listen to ours first, but then go over to Game Informer and listen to theirs, because they have a solid podcast.
This is a random plug, but if you guys like our style of podcast, how laid back it is, it's funny how similar our podcast is to Game Rank's podcast called Because Video Games with Jake Baldino And I can't remember the other guy's name, but I've listened to Jake Baldino for many, many years, long before he even did Game Ranks, on a podcast called Pretty Much It that Preston and I used to listen to with Eric Striffler and a couple other guys. And Preston and I were huge fans of that podcast. It eventually ended and they went their separate ways. But yeah, Jake Baldino has always been one of my favorite gaming personalities for a long time. And because Video Games Podcast is on Apple Podcasts and the like, but it's funny how similar their podcast is to ours. It's incredibly laid back. They do a lot of community questions as well. So if you like a chill podcast where we don't take ourselves too seriously, and you like the laid back nature of it, you may enjoy Because Video Games as well. So I just wanted to throw that out there if you're not already listening to it.
Thanks, Garrett.
Yeah, of course. DBZ Project Z has been teased. This comes from Ayin Ogasa of DualShockers. He says, through V-Jump Magazine's official Twitter account, Bandai Namco announced today that a brand new Dragon Ball action RPG is in development, and is tentatively, there's that word again, named Project Z. A quick translation of the part of the tweet concerning Project Z states, in 2019, the Dragon Ball Z universe is expanding with a brand new game by Bandai Namco Entertainment. The first look on Goku in this new game will be coming in March 2019 issue of the V-Jump magazine, releasing in all the galaxy on January 21st. And then the guy from DualShockers chimes back in and says, note that the announcement says more information will be coming at the Dragon Ball FighterZ World Tour Finals on January 27th, which is a few days after the release of the March issue of V-Jump magazine. It's safe to assume the real juicy announcements will be made there, while V-Jump will only have some sort of key visual for Project Z with Goku. That's kind of cool. I think the last MMO type RPG I played for Dragon Ball was what were those, Xenoverse? I think I played Xenoverse.
Yeah,
I never played Xenoverse 2.
Gotcha.
But I always like the idea of that. And they don't say this is like an online MMO RPG or anything, but just the idea of a Dragon Ball RPG already sounds cool to me, and I hope it's awesome because, you know, obviously Arc System Works did an amazing job with Dragon Ball Fighters, and I'd love to see that art style applied to a Dragon Ball RPG. I think that'd be awesome. Yeah,
I agree. I also love that they call it Project Z. Like, that's such an obvious thing to call it, but
right.
I just love that that's a thing. I do have high hopes for this. I love the Xenoverse games. Don't get me wrong, but I want a standard single player Dragon Ball game. I don't know if I want a retelling of a story they've told already, or maybe they just make something brand new. I don't know. But I do love the Dragon Ball universe. It's one of the coolest universes in my opinion, and we need more. We need some more games from that universe. There's been a lot of games made, mostly fighting games, of course, because it is all about fighting. But I like the idea of exploring different kinds of gameplay in that universe.
I agree, man. I would love to. I don't know if I'd want to play as an established character or my own created character like you do in Xenoverse and kind of go around in a world, and I don't know what you would necessarily do in a Dragon Ball RPG, but I look forward to seeing what it is. Obviously, we have no more information other than just the title and that they're working on it, but and this couldn't be out for a long time for all we know, but I look forward to hearing more because I am a Dragon Ball fan at the end of the day, and we get a lot of good stuff with Dragon Ball, obviously with Fighters, and more recently with Dragon Ball Super Broly, the movie. Have you heard about this?
I've heard about it. Have you seen it?
I was aware that it was coming, but all the reviews are through the roof for this movie. It's supposedly one of the best Dragon Ball movies ever made, which is awesome. Mm-hmm. So I obviously want to see it. I've seen the recent ones, Battle of the Gods. I haven't seen Resurrection F yet, but I heard it's phenomenal, and I loved Battle of the Gods. I remember we watched that at Evans on his big projector, and it was outstanding.
Yeah, I think that's the only one that I've seen, in terms of the movies.
Yeah, but I hear Broly, even beyond just being a good Dragon Ball movie, really expands the lore and storytelling. And it's not so much like an offshoot, which is kind of what Battle of the Gods and Resurrection F I've heard felt like, where this one sort of progresses the story and explores the past of Goku and Vegeta and Broly, and he kind of has a good motive other than just being a crazy villain who just wants to destroy everything, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, do you know if it takes place after Super? I don't know the timeline of this.
I don't know when it takes place because I dropped out of Super relatively early. I know Preston stuck with it for quite a while.
I didn't even see Beerus through. I stopped before then.
Yeah, I stopped before that too. It's mainly because I was watching on the Adult Swim app, and the app just was horrible. Like, it would hardly update, and when it did update, episodes would be missing, they'd be out of order and stuff, so I kind of just lost track of it.
Yeah, see, this is what Netflix has done. Like, if I watch a show that comes out like once a week, I'll watch it for a little bit, and then I'll just stop watching because I get impatient and I forget about the show. Netflix has like spoiled us because we can just watch everything all at once. Yeah,
and I recently, I mean, we kind of already noticed that network television is very swiftly dying. Unless you're an HBO, and like high budget shows like Game of Thrones and everything is different. But and they even acquire, or what was the word I'm looking for? You have to have a subscription to watch HBO anyway. So it's similar to Netflix, but episodes still release only once a week. But I had further proof that network television is basically dead when this show on Netflix called You, that a lot of people have been talking about, that Casey and I watched. It's pretty good, and we had a lot of fun watching it, but it was originally on Lifetime, and it tanked on Lifetime completely, but then it came to Netflix, and now it's like a huge phenomenon because of that.
Oh my gosh.
So it shows how shows can live or die on, or will mostly die these days in network television. It can have a total revival and huge success on a streaming service. So that's just further proof that
for Lifetime, like, who watches that channel?
I have no idea. I mean, there's been some decent Lifetime movies I've seen in the past, but it's not something I'm turning on every day to see what's on. So
yeah,
but I just thought that was interesting how it was originally on network television and it completely failed, and it's a huge success on Netflix. So just further proof, man. Streaming is the future, undeniably. You see the Spider-Man Far From Home trailer?
Yeah, I did.
I am excited for that, man. I think the trailer looks fantastic.
And they did confirm it happens after the Avengers Endgame. Shocker.
Correct.
Because Peter is back. Yeah, the trailer looks good. Not in New York.
Yeah, story-wise, I'm excited just to see Spider-Man in a totally different setting that I personally haven't seen him in before. I mean, maybe in a comic line they've done something similar to this. I don't know. But yeah, I love the idea of him just wanting to get away from not only just New York, but crime fighting in general, and just go on a fun globe-trotting adventure with his classmates. So, you know, like London.
I'm sure after Avengers Endgame, he's ready to kind of just lay low for a little bit. You know?
Because he basically died. So it's going to be very interesting to see how Endgame concludes and how that ties into Spider-Man, because life seems relatively normal around the world based on this trailer. So I don't know if it's a time travel thing to where they go back and the snap never happens. I don't know if that's the case, or if they revert that through some other means. I don't know, but
I'm betting that's what happens. They use the time stone some way.
Yeah, because I mean, if everyone just comes back to life that have died, like, how do you handle that going forward? Just the whole world would be so weird after that.
Right.
So I don't know, but yeah, I'm glad we got a trailer. I love the fact, like I said, these globetrotting and just like the John Hughes-esque dialogue and storytelling they have in even Spider-Man Homecoming and even in Far From Home just seems the same with his quips between he and Mary Jane and who else? He and Flash, especially the end of the trailer, is hilarious.
Yeah.
I like the story speculation. I like the idea that Mysterio is using, you know, this version of Hydra Man. Potential. I don't know if it's like there could be. Apparently, they're called the Elementals. Like, there's Hydra Man. There's like the Sandman looking guy. There's like a lava guy. I think I can't remember. That everyone's assuming that Mysterio is either manipulating or creating as a visual effect, essentially, to basically become a superhero himself for whatever reason, very similar to I think his name's Kronos in The Incredibles. But I like the idea that he is manipulating Spider-Man or just the public to believe that he's some sort of superhero when in reality he's a villain. Yeah. So that's kind of cool. And of course, Jake Gyllenhaal is going to be great, I'm sure, because he's great in everything.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, like, we didn't get to, like, we saw a tiny bit of him in the trailer. Like, are you excited for him in this movie? Oh, absolutely. I was excited when they first announced him as Mysterio, because it's such a weird choice. I mean, Mysterio in and of himself, it's awesome that we get to see him on the big screen, but Jake Gyllenhaal, of all people, not only surprised me, but it got me really excited, because he's an incredible actor, and just to see someone of his caliber portraying such a quirky character like that, it's kind of cool. And we get to see that he does indeed wear the fishbowl in the movie as well, which is exciting. So, but yeah, I assume that's the speculation, because even they cut, you know, Peter and his classmates are like, wow, he's like Thor and Iron Man rolled into one.
And, you know, Flash is like, who's not as cool as Spider-Man, and which I thought that whole scene looks hilarious. But
yeah,
I think it looks awesome, man. Spider-Man's various suits in the movie look cool. He has the classic one from Homecoming. He has his new red and black one. I'm very interested to see how that comes into play. Because apparently there's a shot in the trailer that I missed that Aunt May secretly packs Spider-Man's regular Stark suit into his bag without him realizing. Because it looks like there's shots of, and again, Marvel's known for doing this. They'll manipulate trailers to trick people. Like, for example, there's various shots in Infinity War's trailer that differ from the actual movie to maintain secrets and spoilers and everything. But it's kind of cool to see that Nick Fury is also playing a role in this movie. So that's cool. I look forward to seeing the stealth suit in action, what he uses it for specifically.
Let me ask you this. Does Captain Marvel come out before Spider-Man?
It does. Captain Marvel comes out in March, I believe, and then there's Endgame in April, and then there is Spider-Man in July.
Gotcha.
So yeah.
So which one of those three movies are you most excited for?
I'm most excited for Endgame, of course, because I want to see the conclusion to the decade-long journey we've been on with all these characters. But very soon after that, of course, I'm excited for Spider-Man. Captain Marvel, man, I got to be honest, that movie still doesn't look very good to me. I don't know why I say that. Some of the action scenes look cool, but overall, I'm not convinced that's going to be a good movie. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I mean, the performances look great. Like, it's just, I don't know, like, if I'm interested in that story. Like, you know,
the only aspect I'm interested in is the fact that she plays a role in Endgame and somehow comes into play there. Which, don't get me wrong, I think Brie Larson's a phenomenal actress, man. I mean, she was in an Oscar-winning film with Room, and she knows what she's doing, man. She's extremely talented. And I have no gripes with what she's doing in the movie. I think just overall, like, visually, it doesn't look that interesting, other than like her mohawk and her Super Saiyan mode looks kind of cool, flying around space. But everything other than that looks kind of just bland to me.
Yeah, I'm with you.
I don't know, but I mean, Jude Law is phenomenal too. I imagine he'll bring it. Can't go wrong with young Nick Fury in the movie. So there are positive aspects that I'm interested in, but overall, it has not impressed me that much with the trailers.
Yeah, I hope it surprises me. Like, I hope that it's, you know, it stands out in some way that I'm just not seeing in the trailer right now.
For sure, and I've said this a million times. I've never been one to hope that a movie's bad. I want it to be awesome, but from what I've seen so far, I'm not totally impressed, but hopefully the movie's awesome. So I will reserve my judgment until I see the full thing, is what I'll say. But yeah, Endgame for me, and then of course Spider-Man after that.
Yeah, it's Endgame for me too.
Nice.
It's got to be.
And let me say, I greatly appreciate the fact that they actually shot in location in London and Venice for multiple scenes of this movie, because I can't stand when they green screen or use too much green screen. It drives me insane. So I appreciate that.
Yeah, they just come down here in Edgewood and shoot it all in Atlanta.
Yeah, exactly. A little too much of that going on in Marvel movies these days, and I appreciate the fact that they actually went to these locations, not only for the sake of the film, but for the sake of the actors. Actually getting to travel to those places and film is awesome. Yeah. So that's awesome. I'm very excited for Spider-Man, of course, and I want to hear everyone's thoughts on this stuff that we've discussed as well, because there's a lot of, obviously this is a very eclectic episode here with multiple games and movie news and everything. I'd like to hear everyone's thoughts and hype for the various things. That being said, Jacob, speaking of the community, this brings us to community questions. Are you ready?
Yes.
I'm excited, Jacob. We have a doozy here this week. I had to reserve a few for either Ask IOG or the following week, because we got more than I was expecting this week, which we greatly appreciate. Please keep them coming, because if we don't read them on this show, they are building up to a bombastic Ask IOG episode that's coming hopefully soon. I'd love to do that soon. But that being said, if you guys want your community questions read on this show or Ask IOG, you can reach us in one of three places. You can email us at ItsObviousGaming@gmail.com. You can tweet at us at obvious_gaming. Did I already say the email address?
I wasn't listening. Gonna be
okay,
honest.
You can email us at ItsObviousGaming@gmail.com if I hadn't said that. Sorry, I'm distracted by Peachy over here. But what else is there to say? Yeah, you can reach us in all those three places, and if you submit a question, always include the hashtag AskIOG so that we know you want your question read publicly on the show. On the show, excuse me. My nose is so stuffed I can hardly speak, Jacob, as usual.
Oh.
That being said, the first one comes from Jacob Walters. Jacob says, "What is going on, you beautiful bitches?"
Hey, man.
I hope I'm not too late with this one. What are your favorite Resident Evil memories? Mine has to be the opening of Resident Evil 7. It scared the piss out of me. Really appreciate you guys doing this week in and week out. Peace. What do you have to say, Jacob?
I mean, I've only played 7, so I don't have a lot of memories, but I was very terrified when the first time I saw Miss Baker leap through that window and attack us.
For sure.
That was hilarious. Yeah, that was like the biggest memory, like for me. Like I don't have a lot of, experience. Like I'm going to play 2 this Friday, and I hope to really enjoy that game and have a better answer for next time I get a question like this. But also seeing, well, I mean, it's okay to spoil 7, right? Like, who cares?
Yeah, you're good.
At the end, seeing like the abomination that you have to fight, that was kind of surprising to me. Like, I don't know if that's like a thing that always happens in a Resident Evil game, like gross, grotesque abominations like that. But
oh yeah,
it was kind of terrifying to say the least. But yeah, just like the whole like first person style that 7 was made, and like kind of the adventure-esque style of gameplay that was associated with it. I really enjoyed the experience playing through the game with you when we did that in VR.
Yeah, me too, man. It was a great evolution and also like soft reboot of the franchise, and them following it up with what seems to be a near flawless Resident Evil 2 remake, and with new additions included. I think going forward, Resident Evil's in a very good shape, and I can't wait to see what they do with Resident Evil 8. I'd almost like to see them take the same approach they're doing with the Resident Evil 2 remake and apply that to a new one. I think it'd be awesome, especially with the updated physics in their RE engine, and the gore effects and graphically and animation is just through the roof.
So what if they did something like 7 again for 8?
What's that?
What if they did the same kind of gameplay as 7 for 8?
I wouldn't be opposed to that, because I think 2 is something about just, I mean, 2 in and of itself was already a phenomenal game in the past, but just the way they've built it again from the ground up, and more of what I've seen, it's mind blowing what they've done. So cool. I think I like that third person perspective too. I mean, the first person's fun, especially in VR. I mean, if they're going to include VR, it kind of has to be in first person, but I really like that third person over the shoulder camera perspective. So we'll see. But my favorite memories are also predominantly with Resident Evil 7. Notably, like you said, the Miss Baker episode of our walkthrough. Our whole walkthrough itself is probably my favorite memory with Resident Evil. But notably that episode, I think it's called Poop Inducing Horror. I can't remember which numbered episode it is, but it's the picture of us and Miss Baker attacking us. Yeah. And that is just so funny. And I remember truly being terrified that entire Let's Play. So yeah, that's probably my favorite memories. I played all of Resident Evil 6 with Preston and co-op, so that was pretty fun. But yeah, I definitely prefer 7 over 6.
I also liked in 7 how each of the different family members that like attacked you, like I liked how they were all kind of different, and they were different in like how you approached taking them down.
Yeah, totally. It's like they all sort of had a mini arc as you went through it.
Which cool. Like, if you're making a game like that, it makes sense to do that, but it's like they performed it really well in making the game, I think.
I agree, man. Yeah, I'd say 7 are my favorite memories too. But Jacob, thank you for your question, man.
Yeah, thanks, man.
And please let us know your thoughts on Resident Evil 2 when you play it. Sam Crow writes in and says, "Hey boys, love the show. Been listening a long time now and hope to see it last a lot longer. I've been trying to get my fiance into gaming. She does not share my love and history with gaming, but we are trying to learn. Her passion is Disney, all things Disney. So I heard you last week talking about Kingdom Hearts 3 and wanted to ask if the PS4 collection might be a good place to start. And if so, how do you suggest I proceed? Thanks a million." Jacob, I'm going to let you bring us in on this one. I got to go blow my nose terribly. I'm sorry.
Okay. Oh, this is challenging. See, I don't know if one would start with 3 since it's going to be brand new coming out next week, or if you should start at the beginning. If it was me, like if I was brand new to the series, I would want to start at the very beginning. I would go 1, 2, and then just play 3. I wouldn't worry about any of the other like smaller games or even Birth by Sleep, which is like a prequel to all of them. But it also might be a good idea just to jump into 3, because I know like included with the game, there's going to be like a little, like a brief synopsis, like in trailer form of what happened previously in the other games. So you're going to be like fully caught up, like putting in the disc for 3. So, I mean, if you just want to jump in and play like a brand new experience, it's going to be like polished and well, I mean, I can't like sit here and say it's going to be a flawless game because it might just turn out to be completely bomb. I hope not, because that would just crush me. Let me tell you. But yeah, I would just. It depends like how you want to approach the games. Like because one, it does like it's remastered, right? But it kind of feels dated at this point. Like you can like just tell a huge difference from 1 and 2, like how much better the gameplay is in 2. But if it was me personally, I would go 1, 2, then 3. But I would not be opposed to also just playing 3 and watching like the brief trailer that comes up. And now I'm going to stall while Garrett is still blowing his nose. I hope all of you are having a fantastic day. I'm sitting here doing the podcast, Garrett, obviously, but after this, I'm probably going to go up and get some McDonald's, obviously, because I am starving and there's no food in my house. Like, I'm just so very hungry. And I also need to go to the bathroom really bad, but I can't go because Garrett is, we're doing the podcast, and if I leave, then he's sitting here talking alone, and which he's doing to me, and, and I can like see some crackers behind him, behind his mic, and those like look so good right now. I wonder if he's going to cut this out or if he's going to keep it in the podcast. I hope he keeps it in, because this is gold content right here. What's up,
I'm
Garrett?
back.
I finished my talk and then I started stalling. So
Okay, I apologize for the delay.
You'll have to listen to it.
Yeah, it's all right. I look forward to hearing it.
I was questioning whether you would edit it out or just leave it in.
Yeah, we'll see. I'll preview it. I'm gonna have to cut out all the times I'm snorting and trying to blow my nose in the podcast. I'm just effed up right now.
I don't know how you do it. Like, it seems like you're miserable doing that.
I am. It makes it worse here because I think I might be horribly allergic to our dog. And so every time I'm here, I'm a little more stuffed up than usual. I apologize, but I imagine you covered that whole topic yourself.
Yeah, I did. I suggested that. Like, I don't think they can go wrong either way, playing like 1, 2, then 3, or just starting at 3, because there's like a brief like trailer at the beginning of 3 that will catch you up.
Awesome. Yeah, for sure. And you can't go wrong with playing the first 2 anyway, because they're awesome games.
Yeah,
especially if you're a Disney fan.
One feels a little dated now. Like, it's you got to be patient with it.
Yeah, I get that for sure. Well, Sam Crow, thank you for your question, man. I hope you guys get into some Kingdom Hearts, because I imagine Jacob suggested that you do so, and I would have to agree.
So good.
Fribe says, guys, today we have absolutely perfect weather in the San Francisco Bay Area. At least in my opinion. It's 60 degrees and overcast, slightly windy, but you don't need a jacket. For me, it is ideal as it gets. What is y'all's favorite weather? Feel free to be as specific or generic as you'd like.
Nice. That's a good question. What about you, Garrett?
I prefer between 70 and 75 degrees, minimal wind on a sunny day. That's how I feel.
I'm literally the same.
Yeah,
exactly
I think that's the perfect weather for me.
Yeah, and there's nothing like a nice sunny day and, not being too hot outside where you're sweating, but also not being cold enough to wear a jacket. Like, yeah. I love just wearing a short sleeve shirt, pants, and just feeling perfect.
Yeah, that sounds amazing to me. Dude, I yearn for that right now so desperately. It is freezing cold.
It's like outside. 15.
Freezing cold, and like we said, winds howling. And makes me dream of summertime.
And it's nothing like walking outside and just getting a gust of wind and your hair is messed up for the day.
Yeah, that sucks. And that, just the bite of the wind too, is just horrible. What's next? Sorry, I lost my... I'm looking at the notes on my phone right now, Jacob, and I keep losing my place.
Second to last question.
Yep. Game Nerd 1 writes in and says, hey guys, what is up? I'm just wondering if you had to recommend a game to purchase in 2019, what game would it be? Also, you guys are amazing and I love the podcast. Well, Game Nerd, you're amazing and we appreciate your support and for writing in. A game in 2019, that's tough, man, because there are not only mini games coming out, but many of which I'm very excited for. So I will say this. I will preface this by saying it depends on which genre you adore most, considering if you had to only pick one. I am very much in the mood for single-player, action-adventure type linear experiences for the most part. So it's hard to say, man. If you had to play one, that really comes down to your favorite genre. If you want to play horror games, of course, or horror like survival horror, of course, Resident Evil. If you're into shooters, I think above all, I'd recommend Doom Eternal. If you're into adventure games, maybe like a pretty hardcore adventure game, but maybe Sekiro, if you're into that kind of game.
And if you're a child at heart and love Disney, you got to pick up Kingdom Hearts 3, of course.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah. Any like action game, I should say Sekiro, and then maybe like an adventure type game, go with Kingdom Hearts. Very action packed as well. But
if you're looking for a multiplayer, Anthem or Division is probably your best bet right now. I would go with Division. Personally.
Yeah, I would say the same. I actually had a buddy of mine texted me about whether he should pick up Anthem or Division, and I was going to suggest Division over Anthem. Which may sound horrible, but I feel like I have more confidence in Division at the moment versus Anthem. But
yeah, they both have betas or demos coming up where you have to pre-order. So if you want to try out both of them, you can pre-order and then, cancel it if you want.
Yeah, that's a great suggestion. I agree. Now, we're talking about mostly Q1 games at the moment, so we don't even know hardly what's coming out later this year.
Like all these other games that are, that are mentioned or announced, we don't know when they're coming out.
Right. So a whole lot to look forward to. I mean, it's hard to choose just one, but I named a few that I would suggest depending on your genre. If I had to pick one to play myself this year, I'd probably go Doom Eternal. So far.
I would do Kingdom Hearts, obviously.
I feel you. So, yeah, we kind of talked about that on our most anticipated list a couple of weeks ago for more insight on stuff that we know that's coming this year, but that's how I feel currently. But Game Nerd, I hope you, not that you are only going to play one game, I assume, but I'm interested to hear everyone's one game they would play this year from 2019. Aaron Cantu writes in and says, Gigalagaki's food question last week really hit home for me. After much reflection on my life and pondering on what the reason we all exist is in our universe, is, I came to this question. Are French fries really the best side for burgers? Don't get me wrong, they're great and all, but was the decision that they were the side to have with burgers a conclusion or a trial and error, or merely a failure to find something better? If each of you could go back in time and set a different side for burgers, what would it be?
This is a tough one.
Well, here, let's think about this, because some burger places give you options. They give you the option of fries, tater tots, or onion rings, mostly. So out of those three, if you had to replace fries before we get into the wacky stuff, what would you choose out of those three other than fries? Or I should say between onion rings and tater tots.
Sure, there's nothing in this world like a good batch of tater tots, dude. Oh my God. I just recently had them again for the first time in years. And I forgot that they existed, and I was so happy I had them again. But
yeah, they are good.
You could also say the same thing about onion rings, because a good batch of onion rings are just out of this world. I don't know if I could choose, honestly.
It's hard. It depends on my mood. It always depends on my mood with everything in life. But if I had to choose one, gun to my head, I'd probably go with tater tots over onion rings. Which is kind of crazy because tater tots are also potatoes. So one would be like, you're an idiot, go with the onion rings. But I really like tater tots.
What if we could do mac and cheese? What if mac and cheese was just always served with burgers? That would be awesome.
That would be awesome. You can get a mac and cheese burger in some places.
But also you can't eat mac and cheese with your hands without making a huge mess.
Right.
So I feel like you need something that you could eat with your hands to go alongside with a burger,
I get that. Yeah. Fries, tater tots, onion rings, maybe
chips.
Yeah, chips are an option too at some places.
Chips go along with sandwiches.
Yeah.
A hamburger is technically a sandwich.
Let's think here. Maybe some candy, some M&Ms. You can eat those with your hands.
Garrett, come on.
Can you imagine if that was the norm? Cheeseburger and M&Ms is the thing.
I mean, I love both of those, but together, not so much.
You're kind of making me crave. What about breadsticks with your burger?
Ooh.
I'm saying breadsticks. Casey and I had Olive Garden last night. I don't know if she told you, but I saved a bunch of those mint chocolates for you when I see you.
Well, you can just throw them away. I don't want them.
You don't want them? Casey said you love those things.
I enjoy them every once in a while. I don't love mint chocolate. Okay,
which is surprising coming from someone who likes mint in their coffee.
Listen, you're getting me wrong here. I love mint. I don't. It's not my favorite thing, but I enjoy it sometimes. In my coffee, yes, I do like mint flavoring, peppermint flavoring. But like mint's not like my favorite thing. Like I love it on brownies, but I'd rather just have a regular brownie, you know. Yeah, I would probably. I don't know what side would be best to replace fries with, because fries are so good. Like fries are the perfect side.
I agree. I kind of want to go to Grindhouse after this. I don't know if Casey's going to be up for it, but that sounds pretty good to me right now. Nice burger and some fries. That sounds killer. Hence the name of the restaurant.
I think I went there once with you guys.
Yeah, it's a good place, man.
I drive by it a couple times a week when I'm in Atlanta.
Nice.
I always think about that time we went. I should, yeah. That was a good burger.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I don't know, Garrett. I'm coming up blank here, man.
Maybe some...
salad.
What about chips and salsa as a side?
Yeah, I mean, it's an option, right?
It is.
I'm trying to just like think of something that just makes sense, you know? Like what? But if it made sense, then it would have just came to mind, you know? Like
exactly.
We would have just thought of it already.
What if you had just another burger as your side? It was a burger and then another burger.
Now we're talking 2 burgers. You don't need a side. Just be a man and get 2 burgers.
2 burgers. I do that at Chick-fil-A sometimes. I know you do too, where I'll get 2 chicken sandwiches and fries.
I do that all the time too, yeah. Like I'll not get fries because I don't want to eat potatoes, and I'll just have a couple sandwiches. Yeah,
they're delicious. Kind of want that now too. I'm going to have how about a burger, and every burger you get, no matter where you're at, comes with the side of a Chick-fil-A chicken sandwich.
Oh,
I think we found our answer, Jacob.
Yeah.
I think it's a high note to end on there.
Okay.
Yeah, but again, to all of you who wrote in this week, thank you so much for doing so. We are going to get to your other questions. If not, next episode, we'll do an Ask IOG to get to them, because there are a lot of juicy ones, and we're excited, and we greatly appreciate your continued support week in and week out. I know this was a pretty fast-paced episode, but unfortunately, I have to go to work. Preston was not here, obviously, and we are remote, which really blows anus, but we have a great time doing so nonetheless. Of course, we look forward to talking about Resident Evil next week when we have all gotten our hands on it, and shortly thereafter with Kingdom Hearts. So an exciting Q1 ahead, as we've talked about. The madness begins with Resident Evil this weekend, and I'm sure we're all going to have a good time talking about it. But again, please let us know your thoughts down below on youtube.com/ItsObviousGaming on any topics we discussed, any community questions you want to chime in on. We always love hearing from you guys, and of course, the conversation will continue on Discord, which can be found in the description of any podcasting service you're listening on, and we encourage you to join there because we have a great time hanging out week in and week out. That's all from me, Jacob. You got anything else?
Nope. Just thank you guys for watching. We really appreciate all the viewership, all the questions you guys send in every week with the hashtag AskIOG. And, like I said earlier, if you want to check out my streams, be sure to follow me on facebook.gg/Jalka27, and we will chat more there.
Amen, brother. Yeah, we will, of course, promote Jacob's stream on Discord and Twitter and everything this week if anyone wants to tune in. And I definitely look forward to it. I actually have tickets. I have season tickets to your stream, so I'll be there for all of them, Jacob.
Wow. I didn't even know I was selling those.
Yeah, man. Season pass for me.
My marketing team's really knocking it out of the park.
Yeah, they're killing it, man. Well, cool, dude. That's going to be awesome. I'm excited. But again, I hope you guys all have a wonderful week. Again, thank you for your support. Look forward to hearing from you guys, and we'll talk to you again soon.
Peace, everyone.
See ya.